Hello everyone, welcome back to another one of my videos. I am wearing these earrings which my mum got me I think in September, and I haven't really had much opportunity to wear, but the few times that I have worn them, I love them. And I've got loads of compliments on them, so if my mum's watching, thank you very much. Now this video is an interesting one. As I'm sure the title will tell you, it's going to be my 2022 overall favourites. So as I'm sure most of you are aware, I do monthly favourites for every single month, and I've done it for about 4 years now, maybe even coming up to 5, I'm not sure. But what I found is that this year I had a couple of favourites that just really stood out to me as like, this isn't just a monthly thing, this is something that has honestly changed my year for the better, obviously, and something that's maybe extended over a few months, or just something that I really want to share with everyone constantly, not just online but also in person. So I've got a couple and I'm just going to share them with you. So over the course of this year, you probably would have already heard some of these, and I say this year, I mean last year, but here they are anyway. These are the ones that stood out to me as like the top favourites of the year. So actually, I don't have any movies. There was nothing that I watched that I was like, wow, that's made an impact. So we're going to skip straight to TV shows, and we've got two. Number one is Emily in Paris. Now, this one hasn't necessarily changed my life, but it's just something that I've enjoyed throughout the year, especially since the newest season came out like in December, and I started watching it in April. It's not the most amazing show ever, but it's just really good, and it just is a feel good. And then on from that, I've got Manifest. Now, Manifest is just so good. So good. It's just totally up my street and just ticks all the boxes for me, and I just love it. And I'm very curious to see where it goes. I think the final half of the last season is coming out at some point next year, and I'm really curious to see what's going to happen. On to musicals, I've got two, and when I say these made an impact, these made an impact. Number one, Back to the Future the musical. I have obsessed and raved and everything about it. I love it. 2 bits. But I will admit, whilst the music is very clever and uses motifs from the movie, it isn't the most like memorable music. I love Something About That Boy, but that's really the only one I could necessarily sing to anyone, and maybe My Myopia. But on the flip side of that, we have Broken Wings, which is a show that I just adore to bits and pieces and cannot believe I got to stumble upon last year. It was just by pure chance that I got to see this, and I liked it when I saw it. I really liked it. But then I kept listening to the cast recording and I just love it. It's so beautiful. I am obsessed, and I tell it to everyone I speak to. So beautifully on from that, we've got some music. We've got 3 songs. Number one, To No One's Surprise, When You're Looking Like That. I watched back the video where I mentioned it, that I listened to it for the first time, which was in my August favourites. And I said there that I thought it would be in my top 10, and it ended up being my number 3 of the year. And I was only introduced to it in August. Number 2, Valt een Zwarte Schaduw. This is a Dutch song that I just really randomly stumbled upon and just love. And number 3 is actually an album. I didn't realise this. It's the Hot Mess Dodie album, because Dodie changes my life anyway, and I love her music. Now we've got 4 food things. Number 1 is the vegan Burger King in Leicester Square, and I'll tell you what, I went there today and it is no longer just vegan, and that has broken my heart. Like, that has genuinely really upset me, but it's all right. It's okay. It was a favourite of the year. Number 2, halloumi. I have become obsessed with halloumi. I did start to become a little bit obsessed with it at the end of 2021, but 2022 was the year I really went for it in multiple forms as well. Oh, I just love it. Number 3, Dame or Dime, I don't know how you pronounce it. It's a little chocolate that I'd never had before, and it took over my summer. It was so good. And last but not least, another summer favourite was Paprika Pringles. Oh, I love them so much. Now for fashion, I've just got one, and it's my red dress that I wore throughout sort of the last month of 2021 too. We're in 2023 now, that's fine. And I've worn it for everything you can think of, and loads of auditions especially, so just top favourite. Oh, I totally forgot about books. I've got 3 books. I read a lot of books, and I'm actually going to film my Storygraph recap later on. I say a lot. It's maybe not a lot by my usual standard, but it's a lot by my last few years standard. And the top 3 that came out of those were Jews Don't Count by David Baddiel, And the reason why this one's made such an impact is because it's really changed the way I think about things and about sort of the world. The Queen's Gambit, and that's just because I loved that book. That was such a good book. And number 3, The Tattooist of Auschwitz. Again, just so impactful and really made me think about the world and my place in it. And then last but not least, we've got 5 others. So number 1 is my fake bullet journal. This is everything to me. I've mentioned it so much, I'm one of those people now. Which brings me on nicely to number 2, which is Riley Autumn as a YouTuber. She has been kind of the thing that's got me through this year. I love watching her videos. Number 3 is an app, Duolingo. I think I'm currently on like a 280-day streak, and I just love it. I've used it for a couple of different languages, and I've kind of cycled around and I'm currently back to Dutch. I do speak Dutch fluently, but I make silly little grammar mistakes because like there's 2 different versions of the, and I sometimes use the wrong version because I didn't do my secondary schooling in Holland, so I missed out on a lot. So I'm currently doing that and I'm very happy with it. But then I've also gone through a lot of other languages, so you know, it's good. And then we've got 2 places. We've got Lanzarote, which is a place I totally would not have expected to be going to last year. And I ended up there to visit a friend and I just adored it. I loved it. It was so nice. And on a complete flip side from that, Lapland, which is again a place that I wouldn't have expected to go to. And it was just so beautiful. It's so expensive, but I would really highly recommend it. It's just something to experience. So I think those are my top favorites of the year. Now I'm just looking somewhere. I made like a book tree of every month my favorite book, and then I narrowed it down. And I want to just see if my top 3 of those are the same as my top 3 that I mentioned. All right, my top book of the year was The Queen's Gambit. Ooh, the other 2, totally different, are The Light in Hidden Places and The Midnight Library. So those were my top 3 books of the year, but not necessarily in this recap. I don't know why. Well, I do, because these favorites are kind of different to that favorites. But anyway, that's the end of the video. Actually, the one thing I haven't done is look through my like songs of the month and then see, I don't know, like how I feel my year was, if it captures my year quite well. But maybe that's something I can just do for myself. Because again, by the time you're watching this, it's probably April or maybe even May, and we're still doing 2022 recap videos. Like I said, I'm about to film my story graph one. Anyway, that's all from me. And I will see you very shortly with probably another vlog in a few days and then a proper video on next week. I know what I'm doing on my channel. And of course, you are more than welcome to leave your own favourites of 2022 in the comments below, or your favourites of the first like quarter of 2023, because I think that's where we're at. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye!